Hello, beautiful magnetic wives, and welcome to this video about 10 signs that your marriage can still be saved even if it feels hopeless. For anyone that's new here, my name is Laura Amador, and I'm a Laura Doyle certified relationship coach and intimacy skills expert. So, the reason I made this video is because one of the most common questions I get, whether it's email or on social media, DMs, whatever, the most common question I get is there still hope for my marriage? I get a lot of women reaching out to me telling me their situation and asking, is there hope for my specific situation? And so I wanted to make a video that answers this, that can really help you look at your own life and reflect and be able to get a sense for really what is possible for me, what is possible for my marriage. So even if it feels like your marriage is stuck or beyond repair, there are signs that are going to give you some clarity around this. And recognizing the signs that change is possible really matters more than ever. Many women, in my experience, and myself included, wait so long believing that their relationships naturally deteriorate over time or that marriage counseling is the only solution that's out there, the only option, right? And so they try what they think is available, whether it's, they go to marriage counseling or they try reading 20 different books about how to fix a marriage, right? And then don't see any change. It can be incredibly discouraging and disorienting, just confusing and overwhelming, right? So there are small but consistent efforts that can make huge changes, especially when you know exactly what to focus on, right? This streamlined focus versus reading 20 books and 20 different methodologies and getting all overwhelmed and confused, right? So, when considering whether your marriage is ready for healing, you'll want to balance emotional connection and willingness to change. And I'm going to get into in just a second from who, and communication, of course, right? All right, so let's get into, I want to get right into these 10 signs that your marriage can still be saved, even if it feels hopeless. Sign number one is that you still care about your relationship. So even when the tension feels overwhelming or arguments seem never ending, the very fact that you still care is powerful. You haven't checked out yet. Caring means that you haven't completely shut down or walked away emotionally. And the spark of concern or care, whether it's for your happiness, for your family's well being, or simply the desire to see things improve, that in and of itself is evidence that your heart has not given up. And this matters because true healing can only begin when there's still an emotional investment in there. That's what's going to give you the energy to put in the effort to learn the six intimacy skills, for example. And even if it's only coming from one spouse at the beginning, it still counts. So you might wonder, what if I still care about the relationship but he doesn't? This list, first of all, is all about you, right? Because we can only really know for sure 100% what we're feeling. But to answer in more directly, even if it's only you who is emotionally still invested in the relationship, that's powerful. That right there is a big jump start. And even if you don't know how things can get better right now, your willingness to care shows that love has not been erased. It might just be buried under frustration or hurt or resentment, but it's still there. And that makes the possibility of renewal very, very real. Sign number two is that you notice patterns that hurt your connection within your marriage. Awareness is one of the most powerful tools for change. When you start recognizing the patterns that keep tripping you up, whether it's arguments over money or unmet expectations or silence where there should be communication, you noticing that is already moving from feeling helpless to having clarity. And it can be discouraging to see these same issues resurface time and time again. But noticing them means that you're not stuck in the dark anymore because again, you have clarity. You're learning what pulls you apart, and that insight is the first step toward rebuilding closeness. Once you can name the cycle, you can also begin to interrupt it and respond differently. This kind of awareness shows that your marriage is not doomed, but it does need intentional shifts. And the good news is that even small changes in one person's responses can start to transform the entire dynamic. Sign number three is that you want intimacy back. Longing for closeness, whether it's emotional or physical or both, of course, is a powerful sign that your marriage still matters to you. That yearning shows that you haven't become indifferent. And instead, there's a part of you that still imagines what it would be like to laugh together again, to feel understood, or to reconnect in ways that bring both of you comfort and passion. Desire is the spark that often ignites transformation. It doesn't mean that everything is going to change overnight, but it means that your heart is still reaching for connection. Many women believe that if intimacy is faded, it's gone forever. But more often than not, it's simply been buried under stress, busyness, or unresolved hurts. And the fact that you want it back is proof that the door to healing is not closed to you. Your desire for that is a seed of hope. And with time, with intentional steps, and with patience, it can grow into the kind of closeness that makes your marriage feel truly, truly alive again. Sign number four is that you're willing to reflect on your own role. This one here is huge. In a marriage that feels strange, it's really, really easy to point to your spouse's flaws or failures. And it often feels like the weight of the relationship is on your shoulders and everything that's going wrong is his fault. But when you find yourself willing to take a step back and honestly reflect on your own role, that's an incredibly hopeful sign. That takes maturity and accountability. And this isn't not about blaming yourself or carrying the guilt. I'm going to repeat that. It's not about blaming yourself or carrying guilt or saying it's all your fault, right? It's about recognizing that you do have influence and that your choices, your tone, or responses can help shift the atmosphere between you. That kind of humility and openness creates space for meaningful dialogue and makes change possible, even if your husband isn't showing the same willingness right now. When you model self reflection, you set the stage for growth on both sides. And in many marriages, one person's courage to change can be the very thing that softens the other's heart over time. Sign number five is that you're open to learning new skills. One of the clearest signs of hope is your willingness to grow. When you're open to learning new ways of communicating, rebuilding intimacy, or handling conflict, you're choosing possibility over resignation. Problems feel stagnant when we keep repeating the same situations and patterns, but openness invites fresh solutions and new energy into the relationship. Even small shifts can make a big difference. You don't need to master everything overnight. Sometimes it's as simple as practicing one new skill or trying one new approach. That willingness alone signals strength and resilience. It shows that you haven't given up on creating a healthier, happier connection. The truth is, growth in marriage rarely happens by accident. It comes when one or eventually both partners decide to approach things differently. But one is enough, and that's the key here. And if you're willing to learn, you've already taken one of the most hopeful steps forward toward building trust and closeness. Sign number six is that you're willing to take the first step. It can feel deeply unfair when it seems like you're the only one who wants to work on the marriage. But the truth is, every big change starts with one small step. And the fact that you're willing to take that step is a powerful sign of hope. Whether it's beginning a heartfelt, vulnerable conversation, or practicing a new way of listening, or simply reflecting on how you show up in moments of tension, your intentional action has the potential to shift the atmosphere between you. You don't need to have the whole path figured out. Just moving forward, even a little bit, signals that you believe in the relationship and that it's worth fighting for. Many women underestimate the ripple effect of their courage. Often, one partner's willingness to act with that love and wisdom and commitment, despite feeling inner resistance, becomes a spark that slowly softens the tone and the culture in your relationship and both of your hearts. Your willingness to lead the way shows that the story of your marriage is not finished yet. And what I mean is to lead the way by taking that first courageous step and stand for your marriage. Sign number 7 is that you feel little, even if it's the tiniest, tiniest, tiniest glimmer of hope. When your marriage feels heavy, when it feels hopeless, even the smallest flicker, the smallest little niggling in the back of your mind asking, gosh, can I really throw this all away? Or should I? That little niggling in the back of your mind, that smallest flicker of hope can feel really fragile, really delicate. Maybe it comes in a quiet moment when you remember a happy memory or in a fleeting thought like, maybe we can just work this out. We've got to be able to find a way. That glimmer matters more than you realize. Hope is the fuel that keeps you from giving up completely. It doesn't have to be a constant or loud hope. It only needs to be a glimmer, even the tiniest, even the faintest belief that healing is possible gives you the strength to keep trying, to take another step, to imagine a future that feels brighter than today. Many women underestimate this kind of hope, brushing it aside as wishful thinking or as they're just dreaming and wishing things were different than they were. But the truth is, it's often the seed from which change begins. When you choose to nurture it instead of dismissing it, hope becomes a steady force that carries you through discouragement and keeps the possibility of transformation alive. So, sign number 8 is that you're open to seeing your marriage differently. When a marriage has been through challenges, it's really easy to fall into the story that it's broken beyond repair. But the fact that you can even imagine a different possibility, even a small one, is a powerful sign that change is within reach. Being open to seeing your marriage differently does not mean that you have to put on blinders and ignore the struggles or pretend everything's fine. It means giving yourself permission to notice potential, to envision moments of connection, to celebrate wins, and to believe that growth is possible, to choose your faith over fear. That shift in perspective is often the first step toward rebuilding intimacy, trust, and hope. Openness is like opening a door that's been closed for a long time. And once you peek inside, you might see opportunities that you didn't notice before. Small moments to reconnect, new ways to communicate, or fresh approaches to old patterns. That willingness to imagine a better future is one of the strongest indicators that your marriage can still be saved. Sign number 9 is your frustration with the status quo. Frustration is not a sign of failure. It's a signal that something needs to shift. Feeling disconnected, sad, or stuck shows that you care enough to want better and that staying where you are is no longer acceptable to you. That discomfort can actually be a powerful motivator. Restlessness often sparks the very change that brings a marriage back to life. It pushes you to ask yourself hard questions, to explore new ways of relating to your husband, and to take steps, even small ones, towards something better. That frustration is proof that you're still invested and that you're ready to fight for what really matters in your life. In many marriages, meaningful transformation begins when one partner, often in the cases that I see, it's the wife, refuses to accept the same old story as the only option. Your desire for more, whether it's more connection, more understanding, more intimacy, it's all a sign that your marriage has potential to grow and thrive. And sign number 10 is that you can imagine a better future together. Even if it feels distant or fragile, The ability to picture your marriage thriving again is one of the most powerful signs that repair is possible. This isn't mere wishful thinking, it's a mental rehearsal that prepares your heart and mind for the real world steps that bring love, connection, and intimacy back into your relationship. When you see a future filled with laughter, understanding, and closeness, it becomes a guiding vision. It fuels patience when progress is slow, courage when challenges arise, and hope when you feel discouraged. That vision is proof that your heart hasn't given up, and that even in the midst of difficulty, a renewed marriage is within reach. Holding on to this possibility transforms your perspective. It turns frustration into motivation, small steps into momentum, and that desire for change into real action. If you can imagine it, you can start moving toward it, one intentional choice at a time. So let's talk about what not to do once you notice these signs within your own life and marriage. Because recognizing these signs of hope is very powerful, but it can also bring new challenges. Many women fall into common traps that leave them feeling exhausted, frustrated, or stuck. Awareness of these pitfalls helps you protect your energy and focus on strategies that actually will make a difference. So, mistake number one is putting all your focus on trying to force your husband to change. It's natural to want your husband to meet you halfway. Of course you do. But trying to control or push your spouse often backfires, creating tension, resistance, and emotional burnout. Change cannot be imposed or forced. It must come from within each person. Instead, focus on what you can influence, your own actions, responses, and efforts to foster connection. Often, your example becomes the spark that encourages shift in your husband's behavior. In other words, how you show up can set a whole new tone and really inspire connection between you rather than having to force it. Mistake number two is believing that marriage counseling is the only possible solution. Many women feel stuck when counseling isn't possible, either because their husband won't go or because it doesn't seem to help. And while counseling can be valuable, it's only one path to change. Small intentional efforts, learning new communication skills, reflecting on your patterns, practical emotional intimacy can create meaningful shifts even without having to go to formal marriage counseling. Recognizing this helps you avoid feeling hopeless when traditional avenues either aren't available or are not working for you. Mistake number three is believing that you have to do it all alone. Even if your husband is not engaged or on the same page, you don't have to carry the weight by yourself. Getting support from a coach or a mentor or a trusted friend that is like minded and is also standing for your marriage can provide clarity, encouragement, and practical strategies to navigate challenges. Asking for help is not a weakness, it's a smart, empowering step that helps you protect your hope and your momentum. So, what to do once you notice these signs? If you recognize yourself in even three or four of these signs, it's a clear signal that you're ready for your marriage to change and to heal and to improve. And the good news is, you don't have to have all the answers to fix everything at once. Change starts with small, intentional steps, and consistency is far more powerful than perfection. So here's how to begin. Step number one is start small. Pick one intimacy skill or one habit, one intentional action to practice gratitude. To practice daily, excuse me, and it could be gratitude. Even just 5 minutes of focused listening without judgment, or expressing appreciation, or sharing a moment of laughter where you feel like the goddess of fun and light. Any of these things can create ripple effects in your relationship. Small steps might feel minor, but over time they accumulate into meaningful change. Step number two is to shift your mindset. Instead of thinking, we can't fix, I can't fix this, or we're doomed, Remind yourself, I can take one step toward change today. This shift is about reclaiming your sense of agency and hope. You don't have to control your husband's behavior. Your power lies in what you choose to do, how you respond, and the energy that you bring to your marriage. Step number 3 is use resources to guide you. Support can make the journey so much easier and so much more possible. Whether it's a book, like the one I recommend, The Empowered Wife by Laura Doyle, an online course, a trusted mentor, or coaching program, using structured tools helps you implement practical steps with confidence. For example, my free guide on the 6 intimacy skills provides simple, actionable exercises that you can start today. Tools that can spark real progress, even if your husband isn't fully engaged yet or on board. By taking small, intentional steps, shifting your mindset, and leaning on helpful resources, you move from hope into action. And every effort you make, no matter how small, lays the foundation for a marriage that can grow, heal, and thrive again. So, I want to share a few resources that can help you take that next step. Spotting the signs, as I said, is just the first step. Taking action is what will create real transformation. So these resources are designed to make the shift easier and to give you the support you need. The first is my free guide. It's called 5 Steps to Reignite Connection in Your Marriage, and you can find that linked below. These are practical exercises that will walk you through actionable steps to help you reconnect with your husband, and it's perfect for starting small today. The Empowered Wife Workshop is a deep dive into the 6 intimacy skills with practical, actionable steps that you can implement into your daily life over the course of 4 weeks. This course helps you build skills that foster lasting connection. And as I said, this is even if your husband is not on board or engaged yet. For wives who already know the 6 intimacy skills and want to connect with like minded women on similar journeys, The Haven provides coaching, accountability, and a supportive community so you can stay consistent, share wins, gain accountability, and navigate challenges together. You don't have to do this alone. If you recognize yourself and any of the signs above, I'd love to encourage you not to wait. Start small today. Take one intentional step. Take a look at the resources and see which one sounds like a good fit for you and where you are right now. And begin reclaiming hope in your marriage, one actionable choice at a time. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope this was helpful and encouraging. Leave your comment below. Let me know which one of these signs resonates with you and which resources you want to tap into. I read every comment, I read every email. So I always love to hear your thoughts. Thank you once again so much, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.